A very good evening to all the lovely kids. It's time for Children's Bedtime Treasury with Let Emotions Speak. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel Let Emotions Speak for more bedtime stories each night. Today's story is about URSALA'S umbrella. Ursula was a little girl who longed for adventure. She loved reading stories about faraway places and explorers, and even children like herself who had amazing adventures. Why doesn't anything interesting ever happen to me? She sighed. How I wish I could fly to the moon or dive to the deepest part of the ocean. What fun it would be! On one windy day, Ursula went out for a walk. She took her umbrella with her because it looked as though it might be going to rain. Ursula's umbrella was red with a shiny black handle. It was also a very large indeed umbrella. People used to laugh as Ursula walked along the street with her umbrella up. It looked so big and Ursula was so small that it seemed as though the umbrella was walking all along by itself. As Ursula walked up the street, she felt a few raindrops on her nose. Better put up my umbrella, she thought. She unfurled her umbrella and lifted up above her head. And as she did so, a great gust of wind came and swept her right off the pavement. It carried her past the upstairs windows of the houses and past the roofs, the chimneys, and pots up into the sky. Ursula clung tightly to the umbrella handle. She was surprised to find she didn't feel the least bit frightened. No, not a bit. She felt very excited. She looked down and saw streets and factories whizzing past far below. Then she saw fields and something that looked like a silver thread snaking through the countryside. A river, thought Ursula. Now she could see the coastline, and soon the umbrella was carrying her out over the ocean. At first, when she looked down, the sea was grey, but gradually it turned to the deepest blue with frothy white waves. How I'd love to swim, thought Ursula. At that moment, she felt the umbrella starting to descend. Looking down, she could see that they were heading for an island in the middle of the ocean. Soon, she was floating past the tops of palm trees, and she touched the ground. She felt sand under her feet. I'm going for a swim, said Ursula to herself. She folded up her umbrella and set off to the beach. The water felt deliciously warm as Ursula paddled about. She looked down and saw that the water was amazingly clear. She could see brightly colored fish darting in and out of the coral. Wow! Exclaimed Ursula out loud, and then wow! Again, though this time much louder, as she looked up and saw a black fin skimming through the water towards her. Shark! She shrieked, but no one heard. Then, all of a sudden, a gust of wind made her umbrella unfurl itself and float towards her in the water like a boat. Ursula made a dash for the umbrella, hurled herself into it, and floated across the sea. That was quite an adventure, she thought. After a while, Ursula looked out over the rim of the umbrella and saw that it was heading for the shore again. This time, when Ursula stepped out of the umbrella, she found that she was at the edge of a jungle. Folding up the umbrella, she set off into the forest. She followed an overgrown path through the trees. I wonder where this leads, thought Ursula. She wiped her brow and swatted the insects that flew in front of her face. Deeper and deeper into the jungle she went. Suddenly she heard the sound of rushing water and found herself standing on the banks of a river. All at once, she heard another sound. It was the crashing noise of some enormous beast approaching through the trees. Where could she run to? Suddenly, she felt the umbrella being blown from her hand. To her amazement, it fell to the ground, stretching right across the river like a bridge. Ursula walked over to the other side, not daring to look down at the torrent below. When she was safely on the far bank, she looked back to see a large mountain lion with glittering green eyes glaring at her from the opposite bank. That was a lucky escape, thought Ursula. Ursula could see a mountain through the trees and decided to head towards it. I'll be able to get a good view from the top and maybe find my way home, she thought. She struggled on through the forest and eventually found herself at the foot of the mountain. There seemed to be no way up the sheer rock face. Ursula was at the point of despair when suddenly another great gust of wind blew up. It carried Ursula clinging to her opened umbrella all the way up to the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, the umbrella let her gently down again, and her feet landed in deep snow. By now, it was blowing a blizzard, and she could see nothing at all except white snowflakes in all directions. There's only one thing to do, thought Ursula. She put the umbrella on the snow, sat on it, and whisked all the way down the other side of the mountain. When she reached the bottom, to her surprise, the umbrella sledge did not stop but carried on through the snowstorm until eventually, after a very long time, it came to a halt right outside her own front door. Well, that was quite an adventure, said Ursula, shaking the snow off the umbrella before folding it up. She stepped inside the front door. Wherever you have been, said her mother. You look as though you've been to the ends of the earth and back. Well, I have, Ursula was about to say, but then she thought that no one would believe her and it was nicer to keep her adventures to herself. And that is what she did. So kids, how did you like the story? Do you have any adventure to share with me? Write in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe to my channel. Let's add something interesting to the memory box. IQ time with Let Emotion Speak. Do you know which is the most spoken language in the world? It is not English. It is Mandarin. It is the official language of China. And again, China is a country in Asia and Asia is the largest continent in the world. Hope you enjoyed this fact. See you tomorrow with another great story. Good night.